If you need to find some money, it's a good thing you found this guy here. This is Ted Moss of Investigations America, and you guys do asset searches as well.
We do. Much like finding people, there's steps that we take to find out, are they solvent? And I guess the application here, Randy, is, you've got a lawsuit, you get a judgment, and I can't tell you, this happens a lot. People talk about, oh my God, what if I get sued? Well, not to diminish that legal process, but you getting sued and getting a judgment only matters if you can pay it.
Yeah. Right. No.
Yeah.
You hear about this all the time, too.
Yeah, and they're not going to put you in jail for the most part. We've done away with debtors' prisons, right? So you're not going to go to jail for owing the money. However, there are assets that people have and they hide, and that's more often than not the case.
And that's where you guys come in and you find it if it's there.
I mean, say they own a house and you can quit claim a deed of house to a relative.
Yeah.
We'll find that out. We're going to see if you have any physical property, any unencumbered vehicles, things that are in your name, businesses that are in their name that they might be hiding. We have to pierce the corporate veil and say, okay, just because you have a corporation or an LLC, if you're running it as pretty much a sole proprietor, the court can figure that out and say, yeah, those are assets too.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, just to be realistic, and we do civil suits, we look for liens, judgments. Are you solvent? Right? Bank searches are not a public record. Bank information is not a public record, but we have some techniques which I don't want to give away the magician's secrets.
No, sure.
But using public records, and I'll give you an example on this one. So say you get a mortgage. You might get the mortgage through your bank. It's a good bet you're probably banking there, right? So there's some things we can do. And the last thing I would tell you, and this is a interesting way that we do things, but your trash is not secure. So dumpster diving, trash, whatever clue we can find, we can do that. What
kind of, out of curiosity, just the clues of what it is they're able to purchase or records?
Right.
This is the bank.
You would be surprised what people throw out in their garbage, right? So, and people should shred their garbage. They don't. Businesses, especially if we're doing an asset search on a business, there a lot of businesses out there are lazy about that. So I have found whole spreadsheets and bank statements, and it's legal. As long as it's been thrown out, we can access it. There are some caveats to that.
All right, but how does somebody know that they even want to initiate the search? Like, it's not automatic, right?
Right. So
how do you go, hey, I think this guy has money and he's hiding it, and I'm going to call Ted and his group?
Well, the first thing you got to do is ask yourself, like, is it worth it, right? How much is that judgment for?
Yeah, sure.
We're not, our service isn't a cheap service, right? We get paid for what we know, right?
Sure.
And so there is a fee for that, right? So if you have a $1,000 judgment, it might be something you want to do yourself, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a $30,000 judgment, then that would probably be something. So it really depends on, and I mean, I've had people who've had $5,000 judgments or $2,000 judgments, but that person upset them really bad.
It's like, I'm going to get it.
Yeah. And then, in fact, we just had a lady who had a judgment against a guy. It wasn't a lot of money. It was $6,000. But she ended up getting a criminal charge against him, too. So he had a warrant for his arrest. So we tracked him down. We did the asset search. He wasn't collectible. But we were able to track him down and let the police know, hey, this is where this guy is.
Well, that another question I had. If somebody says, I don't have the money to pay this, this judgment's been found against me, and then you find they do, is that another charge against them?
Not really. It could
Jeez.
It could aggravate the judge.
Well, I'd imagine, yeah.
And you could be held in contempt because they can call you in for what's called a bank examination or a bench examination.
Okay.
And if you go in there, I don't have any money, I'm broke, and then they come back and the other lawyers present, no, you're not broke, the judge could hold you in contempt, and then you could go to jail for contempt. It's rare on a civil case, but it does happen.
Okay.
So the best advice is just don't lie to the court. But if you're looking for money and you want to get these guys, these are all different things you have to consider. and we'd absolutely be able to help them.
Okay. Let me ask you,
a dirty job.
metal detectors looking for coffee cans buried in the yard with anything?
I haven't done that yet.
Okay, well, the coffee cans are plastic
Yeah.
these days anyway.
Don't look at my coffee. Don't look at my backyard. That's where all my money's at.
If you need to find if a client or somebody you're going, if you need to find some assets, these guys can do it. So,
Yeah.
Ted, thanks a lot for sharing on that.
Thanks.